Hello, my crafty friends. Welcome to Stamp with Teah. I am Teah Woodward. I'm an independent demonstrator located in Vancouver, Washington in the United States. Thank you for joining me this evening. I'm really excited to share with you some cards that I made tonight using the Cottage Rose bundle from Stampin Up. So reach over here. Here's what it looks like. And yeah, there you can see it. So it's a floral, and this is a really nice stamp set. I was really super impressed. There's 10 stamps in here, and there's some really fine detail in the stamps, and I can't wait to share that with you. Yeah, so I've got 3 cards I'm sharing with you this evening. I have pre-die cut everything just to make things go a little bit faster. I'll have to do stamping of the sentiments, and I will be doing some coloring tonight. So if you don't like coloring, please forgive me. But that was how I felt like I wanted to handle these cards tonight. So let's see, what can I tell you really quick? We are fast approaching, well, okay, before what we're approaching, we're fast approaching the end of the January through June mini catalog, and that January through June mini catalog has a last chance products list that's featured on the StampinUp.com website. So if you go into the website and hopefully look up my name and purchase under me, go over to specials, and there's a drop-down menu, and you'll see last chance products list, and many of the items are discontinued, or they're all discontinued. What I meant to say was that they are discounted. Along with that, beginning of July, I just see July through December on here, is the new July through December mini catalog, which otherwise is known as the holiday catalog. And that's super exciting. So I'm working right now on getting ready to ship these mini catalogs to people that have been customers of mine for the last year. So if you have not been a customer of mine in the last year and you would like a catalog, I did not lose. Whew. I was trying to remove a notification. I realized I didn't turn off my notifications. Sorry about that. If you don't have a demonstrator in the United States, I would love to be your demonstrator. And I have plenty of catalogs to ship out. The first 2 months of this mini catalog is also Celebration. So when you want to get this in your hands, I can't show you the inside of either one of these at the moment, but for qualifying purchases out of the website at all, it doesn't have to be out of the mini catalog, then there's freebies that you get out of the Celebration flyer. So if you don't have a demo, let me know. Hi, Connie. Thank you for joining me tonight. I appreciate it. If you don't have a demo, let me know, and I would be glad to ship these to you. From Wisconsin, I don't think I've ever had anybody join me from Wisconsin before. That's exciting. Let's see, what else can I tell you? There is a new paper pumpkin that is, oh, what's the name of it? It is called, oh, it's right on the tip of my tongue. I want to say it's like Sending Good Thoughts or Sending, I think that might be the name of it, Sending Good Thoughts. Anyway, so that's going on right now. And yeah, I think that's all I'm gonna go over. I think we're gonna go ahead, since I've got 3 cards to demo, I'm gonna go ahead and turn this down. Oh, before I turn it down, I did want to share with you, I just love being a demonstrator, and I love stamping, just pure and simple. And I just want to share with you kind of quickly, this is using the True Love bundle, and these are invitations that I'm making for my mother-in-law's 90th birthday party. And I just wanted to share, didn't those turn out so pretty? So pretty. And I did a little matching envelope. Anyway, I just love stamping, and I love the flexibility it gives me. You know, I'm making birthday cards, anniversary cards, wedding cards. I'm making gift card holders. I'm making Father's Day cards, and not only am I, quote unquote, hello, that's a little bit funny, saving money by making my own cards, I get to customize them to the people that I'm sending them or making them for, right? And so her favorite flower happens to be roses, pink roses, and so I got to customize her invitations. And so that was really cool, and I wanted to share that with you. It's one of the benefits of stamping in general and crafting in general, is that we get to customize. All right, I am going to turn the camera down. So give me 1 second. And sorry, another notification popped up, except this time it was from Facebook asking me if I wanted to do a poll, and I do not. All right, I think I'm in my holder nice and steady. Here are the 3 cards. Let's see if I can, oh, that's so much stuff. 3 cards that we're making tonight. And I just love how these turned out. So this one, I just created a little focal point. This one did a little bit more involved coloring and a couple of layers. And then this one has a couple of layers too, but this one is a little less involved. So they should go pretty quick because I've got everything pre-die cut. I did want to share with you, in the annual catalog, you will find this collection on pages 56 and 57. Besides the stamps and dies, there's this beautiful ribbon, linen ribbon, that you can actually stamp on or color with the edge of your blender pens. So that's really nice. I'm not using that tonight. I'm just using linen thread. And then really quickly, I want to show you these designer series papers. And really the best way to see these is online. If you go into stampinup.com and you look up, oh, what's the name of this paper? That's what I was going to tell you, is so that you could find it easily. One moment. The name of this paper it's Abigail Rose. And if you go into stampinup.com and you look up the Abigail Rose Designer Series paper, you can see each print full screen. So you don't have to just see like little bits and pieces like that. You can actually see the full screen of each one. So I'm just going to show them to you really quickly. Oh, one of the nice things is that the dies align with some of these papers. So for instance here, this die lines up with all of this, and then you custom build your bouquet. So there is that. Isn't that so pretty? I'll flip these over real quick so you can see the other side. We're using this motif tonight. Excuse me. And then here's your kind of, I'm not sure if neutrals is the right word, but it's your basics. This is really cool looking. I believe let's see. If that fits, it's really close. To me, it doesn't look like it quite fits, but it might. You would need to fuss with it and see. I haven't tried. I thought this was really sweet. I almost used that tonight. So there are your design, excuse me, designer series papers. And okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to get started. And I'm really sorry for the cough. I cannot seem to ditch these allergies. right, we're going to start with the quick and easy one. Oops, wrong card. We are going to start with that one. There we go. So I will post all of the dimensions on my blog tomorrow. If I know them off the top of my head, I will spout them out tonight while I am putting all this together. So this is 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4. And first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my score line and I'm going to burnish that. So I'm going to line up my edges. I'm going to grab my bone folder. Let's see if I can clean it. Grab a clean one. I have lots of dirty ones. They're dirty because I don't do this anymore, but I used to get impatient and needed to spread ink on my ink pads, you know, like when I was refilling them. And I would do it with my bone folder, and that's how they would get stained. Now I use a plastic spoon, which doesn't stain at all. So, silliness. So I am going to grab my grid paper, and I'm going to, the pattern is slightly different because I didn't want to waste my designer series paper, so I'm going to have to select a couple of different flowers here. Oh, so let's see. If I wanted to, I just want like 3 little flowers, or I could even just do 2 flowers, but I think I want 3. So I either go with these 3, which is what I'm kind of leaning towards, or I would go with those 3. I think I'm going to go with these 3. Grab my blender pens. Hi, Jean. There is my Jean. We haven't been able to connect much lately. I am glad to see you. Okay, so here I've mixed a couple of different things. I've mixed Flirty Flamingo. Sorry, I didn't have my pens laid out yet because I didn't have enough space on my table. And I mixed that with, I think I ended up mixing that with Pale Papaya. So, and then I'm using Old Olive for my greenery. And I'm just going to go in, let's see, so I decided on these 3 flowers that I'm going to color. Let's see, I'm going to look in the screen here and you can see what I'm doing. So Jean, not sure if you saw this, but I'm going to show again. So here are the 3 cards that we're making tonight. All right. So I'm going to take, like I said, I'm mixing my colors, and I am going to just take my Flirty Flamingo, and I am going to come in and hit some of these areas that look like they're a little darker. And I will come back over with the Pale Papaya to fill in the color. And here we go. So let's see, what can I tell you? We had a nice weather day today. That was pleasant after having a lot of very not nice weather days here in Vancouver, Washington. It's been so wet. My husband is a groundskeeper, and they needed to lay sod today. And the sod had been in rolls on pallets, and he said it's only been there 2 days, but it's just warm enough that it created, the grass started degrading, let's just say that. And he said not only were the rolls almost twice as heavy as normal, but they stank really bad. So bad that I had to ask him to take off his stuff out back. It was like, oh, please don't do that in our home. If I felt bad. He felt bad. I'm going to use the darker pink on these like little inner flower pieces. I should have done that there too. I'm going to start with the lighter pale papaya, and I'm just, all of these are getting the exact same coloring. Next week there will not be a Facebook Live. Next Thursday. There will be on Monday. My husband and I will be in the Tri-Cities, Washington area for a vintage boat race. Called the Richland Regatta. And we are very excited to be going. One thing, it'll be the first time that we've taken our new car. Well, no, it'll be our second time taking it on a road trip. We went down and saw my brother-in-law a couple weeks ago. Like the day after we got the car. See, I'm not working this too hard. So can you see how these are already starting to blend into each other? There, I kind of like that. So now I just need to go in and hit my greenery. I'm going to use my bullet tip. And I might not use the dark Old Olive blender pen. I normally do for shadows and such, but what I noticed on this card is that the dark just disappeared into that brown. So I'm going to learn from my mistake. Let's see, kind of have to figure out my own interpretation of my greenery here. I think that's pretty good. All right, so now this is ready to be matted onto the early espresso. This Cottage Rose, it reminds me a lot of a stamp set that we had a couple years ago called Magnolia, what was that called? Memories in Magnolia, or Magnolia Lane, I think. Something like that. Anyway, I don't know why my lines are so crooked. The stamps in this Cottage Rose have a very similar quality of detail, and I really, really like it. Turn that over and give that a nice little squish. See, didn't that turn out pretty? And then you pop it on there. Okay. I'm going to put some dimensionals on here. And I'm using a lot of dimensionals tonight on everything. But you'll see why. And reach, 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 reach. I pre-die cut just a couple of these little items. That's what I need to show you. I'll show you that too. There are, not only are there dies for cutting out the stamped images, but there are these little detail dies. There's some flowers, there's some leaves. I'll show that to you in just a moment. This is a side fold card. I've popped, on all three of these cards, I've popped the fronts up on dimensionals. Right, here's what I wanted to show you. So here are those detail, little thin, see how thin those are? Detail dies. So not only is there the leaf, but there's this flower. There's like a little flower head. There's a double flower, and I'm not sure what that is. I guess a double flower of some sort. I don't know, maybe if I cut that out of vellum or something, that would be really pretty. So know that those are in there. I had actually thought I was going to use the flowers, and when it came down to it, they didn't look like I was envisioning on the paper. I was going to use them on the front of this paper, and the two lines, these thin lines, were too close to those thin lines, and so it didn't work, which is fine because I like what I ended up with. Okay, back to this. Let's see. I'm going to go ahead and assemble the inside of my card because it's easy. This is a 1/2 inch wide. And probably have too much glue on there. I just want to make sure that as I put this in here that my print is going the right direction, because there is a top and a bottom to it, and it aligns with my card front. Now I'm going to mat that. My husband's out right now on a quest to get sleeping bags. We have never bought sleeping bags together. We have an event in later July that I'm not thoroughly convinced I'm going to be able to attend the way that he's hoping I will, but regardless, we didn't have sleeping bags. So he went out to find us some sleeping bags tonight. I'm going to just adhere this to the inside of my card, then just stamp the sentiment and put a bow on. And I am using, so my bow on all 3 cards and my gems on all 3 cards are, my bows are linen thread, and my gems are basic pearls. I had thought that I was going to use the brushed butterflies, and they actually disappeared on the brown papers, so I ended up not using them. And I might have to get, something is sticky here. I'm gonna have to watch that. All right. So next I am going to stamp Happy Birthday. I'm going to use my early espresso. I immediately got ink right on my thumb. Oh, I thought I already had that mounted, but I don't. So all the sentiments that I'm using tonight. A lot of times I like to mix up my stamps, but tonight I am staying pure. I'm going to bring this over here so I can line this up off camera. So I'm using the same sentiments, and I'm going to stamp that over here and see what that looks like. Nope, that's fine. I might have to bring this to me so that I can, I bet that's going to be crooked. Ooh, and messy. Let's try that again. Flipping it over. What's happening is notice this sometimes, is that my hand creates a shadow. And I can't see to line up. That one's better. We are going to go with that. It's a little closer to the edge than I meant for it to be, but that's okay. I can adjust. So on this one, I actually made points on each end. This one, I now don't have the room to do that, so I'm just going to blunt cut it. And I have a little raised edge over here. There we go. All right. I'm going to use mini dimensionals. Three of them. So I've had some really exciting stuff taking place here in our home. My last day of employment is June 30. Waited a long time for this day, and it is finally here. So I've got some mixed feelings, of course, because I've been working for a long time. And this is not like a permanent, let's see, I think I'm going to bring this up here. This is not a permanent retirement. It's, but I'm retiring from the job that I've been at for almost 20 years. So yes, very exciting. Thank you, Jean. Yes, yes. And so my mind is full of tons of stuff. Like, we're in the last 2 weeks, and my brain is just flooded. Okay, before I get too flooded, I am going to use mini. That's funny. I took a sip of water so that I wouldn't cough, and then I swallowed down the wrong pipe. That's fun. I am going to use 2 of these. I'm going to pull one over here off to one side. Oh, excuse me. That's not what I had intended. How about if I do this? We'll do that. And one more. There we go. And these are just going to overlap a bit, and they're just kind of giving a little bit of body to the linen thread bow that I'm going to put here on the end. I actually am liking this card better than that one. Isn't that funny how that works out sometimes? I'm making a double bow. As I've mentioned before, I like to cut my thread and release the tension before I try to tie my bow. I get a better bow that way. The linen thread comes with a twist in it, and trying to tie it with the twist still active can be problematic. Actually, that was almost problematic. Let me try that again. Let me try that again. Oh, that's why I'm holding two ends. It does balance it, doesn't it? I agree. Isn't this pretty? I mean, how simple has this card been? It's not like this was like a fancy fold or any crazy stamping. Just a sweet, easy card. And I have somewhere for it to go. I need to send that out tomorrow. All right, get these pulled back in. And that's just going to go right over that greenery, just like that. Just gives it a little bit of lift and makes it so that it doesn't hide. I am going to trim off those ends. I still left them pretty long. I'm going to use a mini glue dot to attach it with. Right over that greenery. Oh, well, yeah, that's fine. Hiding the happy just a little bit more than I would have liked, but that's all right. And then my pearls. I'm going to use my take your pick tool. And I'll throw one up here. Oh. And card number 1 is done. Looks pretty, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm liking it. All right, let's move on to card number 2. We're going to do this one next. And let's see. I'm trying to decide if I can talk loud enough if I sit down to do the coloring. Get myself arranged first. So we've got, oh, and I should just show you, and let me grab a scrap of paper and I'll stamp one image. Well, actually, I can just hold it up for you to see. So this is one of the stamps. Let's see if that comes into focus well enough. Look at how fine those details are. Didn't that turn out well? I just really love how this is stamping. Now, because I am using this DSP, I stamped these using the early espresso. This card, I stamped these 2 extra sets of leaves using tuxedo black because this was white paper with a black print. That was one of the DSPs. So you can really customize it to your needs. All right. See if I get in here close enough, if I can talk loud enough. Here I'm using pale papaya and old olive. Those are the only colors I'm using. And I'm going to start off with my light old olive. And I'm just going to come in and cover these leaves, and then I'll go back in and hit a few highlights of the dark. And then go back over it one more time with the light. That seems to be what works for me. I know everybody has a slightly different way of doing it. I like to use the light to get the paper kind of saturated with the alcohol ink. and then I feel like, for me, the dark becomes more fluid and I can push it around a little bit better. So while that is still quote-unquote wet, it's not really, but a little bit, I'm going to come in with the dark and I'm just hitting that main vein line and anywhere that it sits behind a flower petal. Then coming back in with my light and kind of starting on the dark and pushing it out. Now it looks dark at the moment, it's going to lighten up. I hope I'm talking loud enough. I'll stand up in just a second and check for comments. If I am not talking loud enough, say something pretty, please. All right. So I think that looks pretty good. What do you think? I'm going to take a peek at comments. Thank you, Jean. All right. Going to finish coloring in these leaves. In the grand scheme of things, is fairly quick. I wanted to use these just to enlarge the bouquet slightly, but not a ton. Now, if you make a mistake, or if I make a mistake, like right now, I have a little dinky piece of green sticking outside of the line there. I do have a color lifter pen that I can use to push that back, kind of erase my mistake a bit, so to speak. It does look like I'm getting a little careless with my ink here. Trying to sit up tall in my chair, so hopefully you can hear me well. I love blender pens. I don't use them every time I present, but I frequently use them. Let's see, what else can I tell you about? Oh, man, I just realized what the biggie is that I failed to mention at the beginning of this video, and that is that we have a promotion right now that's buy one get one half off on kits. When you put in your kits, Stampin' Up will give you 50% off of the more expensive one, which is not what you normally think of, right? Normally when there's a buy one get one half off, it's usually on the item of lesser value, but not this time. So if you've got kiddos home for the summer and you need a backup plan just in case somebody gets sick or a babysitter doesn't show up or something like that, might be a good idea. This is that color lifter. There were a couple spots I got a little careless there. All right. Got my greenery taken care of. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to check for comments real quick. All right, so now I'm going to go in and I am going to color the whole flower using my pale papaya, and then I'm going to go in just like I did with the leaves and hit some highlights, or not some highlights actually, some shaded areas with my darker pale papaya, and then blend it back in with my lighter pen. So I am going to go in, give myself a good saturation here, hopefully not make myself too messy. Those kits are a very good bargain at the moment. Those and that Last Chance Products list, both very much worth checking into. The other thing that I haven't mentioned yet is that these cards, for any purchase of $35 or over, I will send you the make and takes for these cards. And what that would include is all the cut and scored cardstock. It would include, sorry, I'm looking for my bullet tip here. It would include, like, if we needed a piece of paper for a sentiment, I would provide, you know, like a piece of paper for your sentiment. I would provide anything that's not stamped. I can provide anything that's not stamped. So I can provide like your pre-tied bows, your gems, and then I include an envelope, your DSP, so if you would just have to provide your own stamps. Therefore, it would not be, so for instance, this is a stamped image and then I die cut it. I can't send that to you, but I can send you the paper that you would stamp and die cut yourself. And I send all 3 cards with envelopes. All right. I think I've about hit my dark spots here. Now I can go back over that with my light. Just make sure that I blend it in. I don't want it to fade in, but I want it to not have a harsh line. Sometimes you want to have a harsh line, but I don't want it in these flowers. All right, that'll dry now. Now that I'm done coloring, I'm going to stand up and we can assemble this card. So I'm going to adhere the designer series paper to the mat. The mat is 3 3/4 by 5, and then the designer series paper is 1/8 of an inch smaller in both directions, so it would be 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. And it's always so hard too when you see the other side. Come on, why is that not coming out? You see the other side of the designer series paper. Oh, there we go. Now she's coming out. And it's like, oh, I didn't want to waste that. But you have to pick a side. And I guess I can always buy more if I run out. This is out of the annual catalog, so it's not like it's out of the mini or something like that. And like I mentioned at the beginning, there's a last chance products list that's available right now. Let's see, I want this going that direction. I need to burnish my score line. I saw that, I felt that slip. It's slipping again. You know what I'm going to do? Sometimes I'm going to go off camera for a second, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an edge from my paper trimmer to hold this in place. And I can show you what I meant. So there's a ledge right here, and I put both edges hard up against that ledge, and then I can burnish my score line. Sometimes they get just a little bit wonky and they need a little extra help. I am going to put dimensionals on the back of this. I feel like I was saying something and I already forgot what I was saying. Sorry about that. I have Christmas cards that I am making right now to send out with my the July through December mini catalog. Just a sample. Got a couple other little things going in with those as well. My mother-in-law's birthday party invitations. I've got a lot of stuff going on right now. I'm working on some tutorial bundles for a couple of... Hi, Sonia. Thank you for joining me. A couple of different tutorial bundles that I'm working on. Classes that I'm working on. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I didn't mention that. That is ridiculous. I have the Wisteria Wishes class coming up. There was a little flubby in my designer series paper right here, but I wasn't too worried about it because I figured I would cover it up with my flower. Yes, Wisteria Wishes. Be sure to either look at my blog or to look at this Facebook page or my Instagram page, and I have been advertising for the Wisteria Wishes class, and I am taking, I'm trying to remember what the last day, I don't have my calendar in front of me, what the last day is for people to place or to let me know that they want to participate in that class. Anyway, there is that. And I guess I was in a hurry at the beginning and forgot to mention all kinds of stuff. Thank you for sharing. I'm trying so hard to grow this little business, and I'm doing well on YouTube and having a harder time on social media. Let's just call it social media. So thank you. I appreciate that so much. I'm going to use mini glue dots to hold these in place. I'm going to tuck these in here. I'm actually going to shorten one of them just a little bit. And yes, I just did that without scissors or anything because that's going to be tucked underneath. I'm going to use two. Yeah, I am pretty excited. I cannot believe, but my last day of employment is 2 weeks from today. It is amazing to think about. And I am taking off at least the summer, if not more. Let's see. And when I say take off, I just mean, I don't mean from stamping. Stamping has got my attention right now. If I could switch everything over to stamping, and I'm trying to, that is what I will do. I'm a very creative person. I always have been. All right, so there's part of the front of our card. I am going to, excuse me, stamp this sentiment, which is feel better real soon. I'm stamping that in early espresso. That looks pretty good. Looks like my husband made it home and it looks like he had success. Uh-oh, I think this is supposed to be a bigger, oh, I grabbed the wrong stamp, that's why. That's what I get for looking out the window when I saw that my husband got home. Okay. So this is supposed to be feel better real soon. There we go, there's the right one. Let me clean this off. Whew, glad I didn't try to push through on that. Best wishes is used on the next card. All right, there's the feel better. I'm going to stamp that there. That looks good. I'm going to do that again. Oh, very nice. Yay! Okay, put that best wishes back on that block because I'll use that on the next card. I just need to trim this a little bit, and I'm going to do it by hand. I'm not going to bring out my paper cutter. Just like that. Close up this ink because, well, I just don't need to make a mess. I am going to grab this one though because I'm going to use that on the inside of the card. So I'm going to put this up on dimensionals. There we go. Yes, we've been taking care of all kinds of little fun things for our boat racing. Super excited to be seeing our friends and just to be out on the road and be out in the, you know, nice weather. Well, eventually. I say that because it hasn't been very nice here. Okay, I am going to tie myself another double bow. I like to, like I said before, I like to release the tension from the twist in the thread before I tie the bow. And I do end up wasting some as a result of that, but I feel like I end up with a better bow as a result of it as well. So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. And find my ends here to pull. Oh, have a dimensional back on my hand. There we go. All right, just getting a nice firm knot there. I usually like to use my bow maker, but with the linen thread, I haven't found that I get a great knot in the center. You ever have that happen? There we go. All right. So this is going to come right up here on our bouquet. I'm going to go ahead and trim my ends real quick. I'm going to use a mini glue dot to adhere that. And I'm just putting this right in that little crook right there. And separate those out. Now I'm going to add my pearls again. Grab my take your pick tool. And I'm going to stick one up here, one right there, and one down here. Going to put together my card interior. So I'm going to stamp this flower in one corner. That is not the right size block, but this one is. So this is crumb cake ink that I'm using. Just going to check it out right here. There we go. Very nice, pretty, subtle. I clean off my stamps in between each stamp because I have a tendency to put my hand right in them. Going to adhere that down to that mat. I love these old-fashioned roses, and you know, I use a what do you call it? It's a program for creating my graphics for my stamping business, and I actually typed in Cottage Rose, and these are the flowers that showed up. Sometimes I type in the name of something and it's not what I get at all. But it was tonight, so that was kind of cool. Trying to get that nice and centered. I'm pretty good. Not quite good enough. This is why I like to use green glue, is it gives me a little bit of time to wiggle everything around. All right, I'm ready to adhere this to the inside of my card, and then this card is done, and on to the last card. I'm really liking how all these are turning out. All right, and some of these cards you'll notice, you may or may not have noticed, I have little fuzzy edges on the some of the cardstock, and I had to change my blade. That's all been done now. All right, so there is card number 2. On to card number 3. So here is card number 3. So this was from a piece of designer series paper. Now let me bring that back and show you again. It was from this piece of paper. And I discovered that this motif is different than this motif. You see that? So these are the same, and these are the same, but these are different. So I have a different motif here than I used here. So it's going to end up looking just a little bit different. But I did that because I didn't want to waste my paper. All right. And then here, I mentioned earlier that on the last card, I stamped out in early espresso, but this one I stamped out in black. See, this has got the black ink. So you can totally do that. All right. So I'm going to do the same thing I did last time. I am going to sit while I'm coloring, and I'm going to sit up real nice and straight so that you can hopefully hear me well. Hopefully. Okay, so I'm going to pull my pens back out. And I'm going to start with So Saffron in these small little flowers that are on the outer edge. And I'm going to do opposite of what I've been doing, whereas you have seen me starting with light color and then moving into the dark and then back into the light. For these yellow flowers, I'm going to start with the dark and then go into the light. And I'm doing a generic, sorry, my eyes kind of got out of focus there for a second. Actually, I think they missed a center here. Oh, no, I see it, okay. I want to make sure I color that right. So I'm taking the dark So Saffron, and I'm extending it, man, this is stretching my eyes, out to those shaded, where they've used the little lines to create the shading. I am moving, I am floating this dark ink on those lines, trying to make sure I don't hit some other flower by accident. Okay, and then I have a couple more over here. And 3 slightly bigger, and I'm going to keep them in the same color. I'm using the bullet tip to kind of control. I mean, there's a lot of fine detail here. There we go. All right. So I've created my darker centers. I'm going to raise this up to the camera so that you can see what I've done. Now I'm going to use the lighter color. And I'm going to use the bullet tip. And I'm going to go in, and it's going to create a little bit of a gray. Sometimes with these lighter colors, the alcohol and the general saturation kind of comes out looking a little gray, but it will clear right up as it dries. And because it's alcohol, it will dry quickly. And I'm coloring each one of the petals. I'm really tempted to switch over to the brush side. I need a new So Saffron pen. See what I've done here is I've used it so much that I have frayed out the end. So this is probably the last time you will see this on my videos because I need a new one. And I'm kind of surprised that I forgot to order it on the order that I received yesterday. let's see, what else? So after this yellow, I'm going to go in and do the greenery. It's going to help me identify the perimeters of the 3 main flowers that are here. Oh, I hope this pen makes it to the end. So if you ordered the minimum order of $35 and I sent you the make and takes, you could either fussy cut some of the DSP, or you could, or some other DSP that you've got, or you could use a stamped image. All right, we're going to call that yellow done because it looks like I've pushed those pens as far as I could. I'm going to get back to my old olive, and now I'm going to go back to using my light color and then my dark color and then my light color again. I'm going to use my bullet tip because I need to be careful in here. Around these flowers, there we go. And I'm just going to fill that up so that when I put in my dark color, it literally floats. So there will be no Facebook Live next Thursday. They will be on Monday. And then there will not be the following Thursday either. So next Thursday, my husband and I are headed to a boat racing event in the same state that we live in, but some hours from where we live. And then the following week, that is the last day of my employment, so I am going to take that time and do something special with my husband. I don't know what yet, but... And who knows, I might even be a puddle in the corner crying because I won't know what to do with myself. I'll figure it out quickly, but... I have noticed that as I am getting closer and closer to my last day that I've been experiencing some kind of raw emotions. But this was my dream job that I had for a very long time, and even though it's the right thing for me to do to move on, it is hard to wrap my mind around. So, let's see. I think I just spotted 2 more spots that I should have done a yellow flower. Oh, there's some greenery. Okay, so I'm going to hit a little bit of greenery here. I won't use the dark pens on these little dinky leaves. See, there's so much detail in these. Isn't that crazy? All right. I'm going to stand up and check for comments real quick. And no new comments. All right. I am going to pull in the dark Old Olive. I'm just going to outline these flowers. I need to figure out how to move my hand so that I'm not casting a shadow. Right, back with the light green. I said light green, but it's light old olive. Let me be more specific. And I'm just floating I'm using the lighter old olive to float that dark old olive. And it creates a very nice shading. All right. You see how that's kind of working out? Isn't that nice? All right, so I've got these two little sprigs. While I've got this old olive going on, I'm going to go ahead and take care of these two sprigs real quick. But I will be live on Monday, this coming Monday. And then the following week I will not be live. I will probably do a video though, and schedule it to broadcast or something like that. We will be returning from the boat race on that Monday. So we're working on the third card. I am pondering, I just realized that I think on July 9th I may be able to have an in-person class. So I just realized that in the last couple of hours, so I'm figuring out how I want to pull that off. As I do, I will let everyone know. So I would assume that by this weekend I'll be able to provide details. That evening, I'm going to my 40th high school reunion. How's that for dating myself? So that'll be nice. I did not stay in this area a lot of my adult years. I actually lived up and down the I-5 corridor, so it's nice that I'm actually back in this area and can easily attend something like that. And then just hitting that stem. Okay, done with all the greenery. Bringing this back in. So here I used the Flirty Flamingo and I accidentally used the dark first and then used the light second, and the light created kind of these highlight points. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing. That's a little bit opposite of what I've been telling you I'm going to do, but that's how I'm going to address these flowers. And here, those two flowers are back behind. Here, they're going to be up on top. So, wish me luck. Let's see. I'm going to use the brush tip. Going to come in very carefully. fill in each one of these petals as I go. Fill in my center. And I realize that I don't necessarily need to be super careful right here at the edge of each petal where they're alongside of each other. But I'm being careful because I don't want to allow myself to get into the habit of not being. All right, let's turn this. Isn't this color pretty? I thought about taking a kit or something with me and maybe doing a Facebook Live, like a quickie one next week, but I don't know. We'll see. I want to make sure that I give my husband full attention. And we'll be staying with friends, and the friends have dogs. I might have just answered my own question. I don't want to set any puppies up to get in trouble. Let's see. Getting there, I'm getting there. And what I did is I went back and I created some highlights with the light Flirty Flamingo. And then I went back and I re-highlighted my petals with the bullet tip. So, yep, Flirty Flamingo, Flirty Flamingo. And here I'm going to take my brush tip and I'm going to work from the outside, or from the inside out. And I want to be sure. So what's going to happen is it's going to push, because there's more alcohol, less dye in the lighter than in the dark. And so it will push the ink from the dark around a bit. See how it's starting to create that? I'm going to lift it up. See how it's starting to create some lighter areas? And I'm going to do a quick blue light there. There. Let that dry for just a second. And then I'm going to take my bullet tip, and I really do want this to dry. So can you see on the back, you can see that this side has already dried and see that this side is still drying. So I'm going to start with this one because I know that it's already dry. And I'm going to use that bullet tip to create some shading. Around where the petals are either overlapping or curling. Like that. I'm happy with that. And what do you think? Are you liking this? Do you like to use blends? Let me know if you do. I have them in every color. I have a new holder showing up tomorrow that I ordered from Stampin' Storage that will hold all my blends. All right, now I'm trying to remember. I'm pretty sure that I used Petal Pink here. I didn't use the Pale Papaya like I did on the others. So here is my dark Petal Pink and here is my light Petal Pink. And this was super easy. I just went in and colored everything on the flower with the light Petal Pink. And I know I just got through telling you that I don't want to get out of the habit of being careful. I am being careful to not let this tip hit that Flirty Flamingo because I don't want it to lift up onto this pen. All right, so there I have colored with the light Petal Pink, and now I'm going in with the dark, and I'm just going over all those shaded areas. So first I'm hitting those little lines that create the shaded effect, and then I'm going to turn my pen around and use the bullet tip, and I am going to basically outline each one of these petals. And you know, if I feel, looking a little pale, isn't it? I think the difference is that this is underneath and those are on top. I think I'm going to go ahead and infuse some Pale Papaya on this one. So this is Pale Papaya. And I think this needs that pop of, I'm going to call it orange. It's not orange, but it's, I'm going to start with the light. That might not be enough. Okay, it's warming it up. Do you see that? It is warming it up. I'm going to pull in the dark, the bullet tip. There we go. I'm throwing a lot of ink down here, aren't I? So are you liking this Cottage Rose? I am. All right, I feel like that did help quite a bit. And I did see, where did I see it? I thought I saw that I had missed some yellow, but I actually don't think I did. All right, now I can stand up again. Oh, thank you, Jean. You like this one? Yeah, I do too. All right, so I'm going to mat my designer series paper real quick. And throw that on here. Thank you. I'm gonna mat that up real quick. Hey Jean, were you able to hear me very well while I was sitting down and doing that coloring? I would love to know. I always worry about that. Okay. Thank you so much. I appreciate the feedback. All right, I am going to burnish. And then I feel a little raised edge here. Like I said earlier, my cutting blade was dull. I've replaced it now, but that's better. I am going to put dimensionals on here, which I think I've set right here. Now this gets a ton of dimensionals on it. Yeah, definitely louder when I stand up. Okay, thank you. Yeah, when I do very much coloring, it's hard to do the coloring from standing. But I kind of have it in my scope to maybe get a desk that goes up and down or something for doing my lives. I've got to do something. I have a back injury that I need to protect. Okay. I really like this petal pink and white stripe. It reminds me of a pillow ticking or something kind of old-fashioned-y. I really like it. Okay, there's that. You know, I'm going to go ahead and put the inside together real quick too. So I'm just using a piece of that stripe down one side and then putting it on the mat and adhering it to the inside. So super easy. And now that all that coloring is done and this card is basically assembled, we are very close to done. And line that up there. See how much ink I used a ton of ink. That's all right. What was the weather like in Tri-Cities today, Jean? We're so excited to be heading over there next weekend. Not this weekend, but next weekend. All right, this is ready for the inside of the card. So like I said, I used linen thread and basic pearls on everything. Sunny and hot. Ooh, hot. I could use a little bit of hot. It has been wet and damp. Wet, damp, and cold here. And yes, I know that wet and damp are the same thing. But I can't stress how damp it's been here. Stress enough. We had no break from rain to hot. Yeah, it went straight from one to the other, didn't it? And the thunderstorms this season has been just crazy. Like, normally there's one or two, but they've been one right after another of crazy storms. Okay, so this one, because like I said, these are a different motif than this one, so I have to figure out how it's going to lay on here. Well, this is kind of, oh, got a hair stuck to my hand. Well, got a feeling this is going to end up either like this or like that. Yeah, weather everywhere. I know, poor Yellowstone. Oh my gosh. Yellowstone. It just breaks my heart to see what they're going through. Okay, I'm going to do this, and then I will put these something like that. And then the sentiment will go right down here. I don't love this looking like two eyeballs, but that's why I kept fussing with it. Okay, let me put some dimensionals on here. Yeah, man, yeah, I just can't even get over some of what we've seen happening over in Yellowstone. That's heartbreaking. And wildfires already, and crazy, crazy. I'm going to use quite a few because there's a bunch of little... Now, I fussy cut this one out. This one was not a die cut. And I think I better put a couple little ones right here. Where did I put it? Right there. They're sticking to me. When I think someplace this last weekend had like, oh, was it Texas that was already in the hundreds, I think? Yeah. Holy schmoly. Well, we've been told that the regatta next weekend, that the weather might not, be more than in the 80s or whatever. Last year it was 117, so it'll be better than that. But I went and bought us a new pop-up today because it was, well, we just need the protection. I don't know. I'm kind of thinking I might do something like this just to break up those two things that looked like eyeballs. I just really wanted these little sweet flowers to the top, but oh, maybe that'll work. Oh, 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 oh. There we go. Ooh. That was iffy. All right. So now I'm going to trim this down like I did. Okay, the last one I tore, but this one I'm going to actually trim like a nice person. And put a couple of mini glue dots on the back here. When my husband got home from work today, I said, I don't know what we're having for dinner. And he suggested, oh, I guess I needed more off. Okay, I'll use this one down here. And he suggested breakfast for dinner, and oh man, was it yummy. There, that one looks good. I must have a dimensional, right? I sure do. So I need to, if I trim off that, then can I, then I can get it in there. Ha! I'm going to win. go. Yeah, it looks pretty balanced, doesn't it? I think. So now we need a sentiment and a bow and some pearls, and then we're done. So here's my sentiment. Here's my paper. Let's see, I think I used Old Olive for this because I wanted a little lighter look. See how straight I get this? I cut more than one piece of paper just in case. Whoop. Oh, it's actually pretty straight. No, it's not. I thought it was. Let me try that again. That one's fairly straight. So I'm going to fussy cut around the sides and the bottom only. And we do have a stamp set called Charming Sentiments that now comes with dies so that it looks like it's fussy cut. But I really wanted to stay with using this stamp set for everything on tonight. So all right. I might have messed that up already. Oh, come on. Back up and try that again. I'm not sure I can fix that. So I mentioned earlier my allergies. My contacts are dry from my allergy pills. And so when that happens, everything gets real starry, gets real kind of almost blurry, and kind of like when you're driving at night. Anyway, that's what happened just now, is my contacts are starting to stick. There we go. I might have salvaged that. There we go, there we go. Might have to fussy that a little bit more. That's okay, I can. I will. So fix that corner and then fix this corner ish, and then fix. Almost done, I promise everybody. Inside of that little corner, I found this to be difficult on the original sample as well. All right, so, okay, that hides kind of sort of when I put that down there. There we go. And I'm actually just going to trim across that top a little bit. There we go. I'm going to call that good. Using the border from my dimensionals so that nothing goes to waste. I'm going to pop that up right up here on these leaves. Pretty straight. Now I need a bow and some gems. This one kind of looks more full than this one does, doesn't it? I didn't realize that, but I'm kind of liking how this one is laid out. Now that I fussed over it, I preferred these flowers, but that's okay. Really shouldn't have a favorite, should I? It's like having a favorite child. Not okay. At least not out loud. All right. One of my kiddos heads to... Hi, Michelle. How are you? How are you? And that sweet little puppy of yours. You're catching me at the tail end here, but you'll get to see everything. Of course, I call it the tail end. You know as well as I do, it could take forever to put that last bow on, right? All right, I'm going to use a mini glue dot to adhere this bow. And I think I'm going to stick the bow right about in here. Do a little trim of those tails. So I've used linen thread on all of the cards, and I'm using the basic pearl gems. And I'm going to use 5 on this card because it's best wishes. I'm envisioning this being like a wedding card. Had to reset my little clay tip on my, take my pick tool. Love, love, love the pearls. Oh, we'll go ahead and add a couple down here. So that's 4. I need to add one more somewhere else. See, I could go over here, I could go over here. Or I could even add a let's see. That's good. There we are. Okay, let me get some of this fussy stuff out of the way so we can take a look at what we made tonight. So here's the wedding card, here's the get well card, and here's the birthday card. What do you think? Do you like? Good night, Jean. Thank you. Well, thank you for joining me tonight, everybody. I really appreciate it. I value you all. And big hugs to everybody. And thank you. Yep, yeah, this is a pretty easy set to work with. So, well, thank you, everybody. Big, big hugs. And I will not be live for the next 2 Thursdays, but I will be live next Monday. All right? Big hugs. Good night.